All right, Colin, we are here in Subaru's most popular model, and what may that be?
This is the 2021 Subaru Forester. As Jake said, this is one of Subaru's most popular, if not the most popular model. Does it hold up to all the hype, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, so far, first glance, it seems to have a really promising combination of both practicality, but also it has the ability to be that weekend warrior vehicle. I think we should take a bit of a deeper look. What do you say?
I'd agree, Jake. I say we step outside and take a look around the exterior of this vehicle.
Let's get to it. Now, Colin has gone to try the new BTS meal at McDonald's, so while he does that, I'm gonna tell you all a little bit about the front. Active grille shutters right here, so that's gonna mean that when you go at high speeds or the engine doesn't need cooling, the grille is going to close. That's gonna increase your fuel economy. Taking your attention to the lights, you have some nice LEDs. They are steering active, so when you steer the wheel and when you're going down the road, the lights are going to move, which is a really great feature. New for 2021 is the fact that that feature is on all models and all trims of the Forester. It did not used to be on the base trims, but now the lower trims have it. You have 8.7 inches of ground clearance right here. That's gonna be enough for, you know, some light trails and whatnot. If you're going hiking for the weekend, I think they did a good job with the front of the vehicle. Now at the side of the vehicle, you have these 17-inch rims right here. All models except for the base are going to get these roof rails. Also running along the vehicle, all models except the base are going to get a panoramic sunroof. Really adds a lot of light to the interior of the vehicle. Other than that, not too much to say about the side of this vehicle. This is the same Forester profile that we've come to know and love. Let's check out the back. Bringing us to the rear of the vehicle. Again, just like this side, not a lot has changed here. And if you like the look of the Forester, then that's certainly not a bad thing. It definitely has a really handsome design to it. We do have a power tailgate, so let's give that a quick open. You can also open it from the key, and this is going to unveil 31.1 cubic feet of space. We have a nice little mat back here, nice and hard, so that you can put like a pet back here or something. You also have your cigarette lighter back here and then a bunch of tie downs. Now, you can expand the cargo space to 76.1 cubic feet by putting down these rear seats. To do that, there's just a little knobby pull, and down goes the seat. It's a really easy operation. All right, Colin's back from his BTS meal. Colin, what do you think about the exterior?
I mean, not much has changed from the previous iterations of this vehicle. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It still has that really rugged, outdoorsy look that Subaru fans have come to expect, and it still manages to hold up in the modern car market.
Yeah, and no stupid floating window like the RAV4, which you know I hate. But that's besides the point. What do you say we get on the road, take a look at the interior, some driving dynamics?
I'd say we do it now.
All right, let's get in.
Let's get into the Subaru Forester. And of course, to unlock the vehicle, you actually have to press the Subaru badge and on the key. I think that's a really cool feature that I have not seen on another car's key. If you guys know a car that has a key like that, let us know in the comments down below. Of course, push to start, turning the vehicle on. You can hear it roar to life. Overall, this is a very comfortable driver's area. Everything is within reach. The one thing I did notice is I find that the gear shifter is a little bit low for my liking, but I think that's because we have the seat super high right now. Other than that, I think everything is within reach. It's visible. Once again, one thing I did notice is I have a bit of a hard time seeing the center screen, but of course we could just lower the screen to fix that. You do have great sight lines out of this vehicle, and overall it is a nice seating area, but the amenities are a bit lacking, you could say, especially in the screen, which we will get to later.
All right, everyone, let's talk a little about the driving dynamics. I'm gonna give it some gas going out of here. And it's a CVT, so it's holding that revs high. For those of you who don't know, since this vehicle has a CVT transmission, it's not gonna shift gears. It will simulate gears, it'll simulate at least a first gear, but you're actually using sort of a belt system that's gonna try to keep the engine in a certain rev range. And what that results in is kind of a long droning sound as you're accelerating, and it's gonna result in sometimes some less responsiveness compared to a traditional planetary automatic. And on top of that though, the benefit is you're getting better fuel economy. Now, Colin, I wanna know your thoughts before I go on. You drove this vehicle a little bit, tell me what you thought.
So in the brief moments I drove it around a parking lot, I thought it was a very responsive vehicle. For being a small SUV, it really doesn't feel like a larger vehicle. It drives very much like a small vehicle, and that is very nice for a vehicle like this.
Yeah, you touch on that. The Forester, it has a great turning radius, I've noticed. So when we go pull a U-turn or whatever, you know, it definitely makes it without any issue, which is great, especially for an SUV carrying 5 people. Plus, you know, you have pretty good cargo space with that second row up. 36 cubic feet is nothing to scoff at. Now let's talk engine. Under the hood of the 2021 Forester, you're gonna find a 2.5 liter Boxer engine. Now Boxer, why do I mention that? A Boxer engine means that the pistons are laid out horizontally. So instead of being laid out vertically like in an inline 4-cylinder or being in a V configuration, the pistons are flat. What's that gonna do for you? It means that the engine can be mounted lower. That's going to give you a lower center of gravity, and it's going to reduce the risk of rollover related issues, or, you know, kind of the roll in the vehicle as you go around corners. It's going to give you increased stability. That is a really great safety feature built into the Subaru Forester. Now this engine's going to put out around 182 horsepower, 176 pound-feet of torque. You can expect around 26 miles to the gallon in the city, around 33 on the highway, and power is sent through a CVT to all 4 wheels. If you're liking the video, be sure to like and subscribe for more weekly content. All right, let's get back to it.
All right, so when we'll drive in this vehicle, we might as well mention the driving modes this vehicle has. Jake, care to elaborate?
Yeah, definitely. So on this one, you have a sport and an intelligent mode. On the Forester Sport, you're gonna be adding a sport sharp mode to that. So what's that gonna do for you? Sport mode, it's gonna be willing to take you out of those most efficient ranges of the CVT transmission. So you're gonna get a little more responsiveness, but you're losing a few of those MPGs. You're also getting a little more noise. Now, if you take the vehicle and put it in intelligent mode, it's gonna try to keep those MPGs high. That's gonna come at the loss of some responsiveness. Your pedal's gonna feel a little bit mushier. Sport Sharp's gonna do the same thing as sport mode. So it's just gonna, again, you're gonna lose some MPGs, but you're gonna get even more responsiveness, and the car's not gonna be fearful of venturing into those lower MPG areas of the rev range.
So Subarus have always been known for their off-road capability. It's something they've gone and done years in the past, and they continued it with this vehicle with the introduction of the X mode. So Jake, what does that do for this vehicle?
Yeah, it's essentially your hill descent control, really. It's gonna help get you out of sticky situations by taking over your throttle control. It's gonna use all the all-wheel drive systems throughout the vehicle to help get you the maximum amount of traction possible. That's going to be really useful if, you know, you're trying to get to a trail and maybe part of it was washed out or something and you're just having a hard time getting over it. There is a possibility that this X mode can help you. You can activate it and push this center button. And Ben, our cameraman, I don't know if you can get in a little bit here and get a closer view, but you can see that pulls up a pretty advanced all-wheel drive menu. You can see where power is being distributed along with the incline of the vehicle. Pretty neat little features, and especially it kind of shows, you know, this vehicle's not a poser. Now let's talk trim. Starting at $24,795, the base trim is going to get you features like dual front USB ports. In addition, you're getting a 6.5-inch infotainment display, which is going to have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. You're also getting remote keyless entry. At $27,795, the premium like we have today is going to get these 17-inch wheels. You're also getting heated mirrors and heated seats, and topping it all off is X mode, which is going to give you features like hill descent control, which is essentially an off-road cruise control. At $29,395, the Forester Sport is going to get features like a unique gloss black interior. You're also getting some cool orange stitching and badging around the vehicle. On top of that, you're getting blind spot detection and lane change alert. At $31,395, the Limited is going to get you features like perforated leather seats, an 8-inch infotainment screen, and 18-inch rims. Topping the 2021 Subaru Forester lineup is the Touring. The Touring is going to get you features like a power adjustable driver's seat that has 2-position memory. On top of that, you're getting heated rear seats and a driver focus distraction mitigation system. Getting on the highway, I have in sport mode. Let's floor it here. And I'm gonna say, all right, I gave this car, I sounded a little negative on the CVT earlier, and I wanna be clear, it's not as bad as you would think. For most people driving this car, A, they're not gonna notice, and B, this car is actually quicker than I expected. Well, I don't know what you think.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it does have a bit of go to it. We were discussing that earlier, if it just sounded like it did, or if it actually can put down. I think everyone here definitely was able to agree it does have some go to it.
Yeah, which is great. You know, if I want to pass this older Subaru right here, you know, it does have available passing power. And we also were discussing, it does have a bit of a stiffer ride than I expected as well. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, you know, it's just something you gotta be aware of, because of course a stiffer ride brings benefits in handling and whatnot, so there are trade-offs. Now I want to talk a little bit about the driver's assistance. This vehicle is very invasive with your driving. It will consistently beep, ding, everything. And that's part of that Subaru Eyesight system. Subaru Eyesight is Subaru's standard suite of safety features, and they are very, very active. So for example, if you get anywhere near a line, it's gonna ding, it's gonna put you in the center. One thing I find really interesting is that the wheel on any road, not just the highway, will naturally try to kind of center you. So as long as you press this little steering wheel button to turn this mode on, the wheel essentially gets pretty stiff towards the center. And then as you kind of turn, it's going to feel even stiffer. It's going to get harder to turn because that's the vehicle trying to keep you in your lane. And the vehicle will turn that on by default if you have the button pressed whenever you go on any road when it recognizes the lane lines. So that's a feature that you can turn off or turn on depending on your liking. On the highway, it will keep you pretty well centered in your lane. You could kind of use it as a pseudo self-driving mode if you have the radar cruise control on. You just heard the vehicle beep at me, it lost the lines and it turned off that self-steering mode right there. But just like that, it seems to have found the lines again. So there's a pretty active suite of safety features. Again, this is only the second trim up. This vehicle also has the blind spot monitoring, which is definitely a nice touch. Again, you know, you shouldn't be self-driving in this vehicle, but you can take your hands off on the highway for about 20 or 30 seconds before it gets mad at you. Now, Colin, a very important part of any vehicle is the infotainment system. Why don't you tell us about that?
So the first thing you will notice about the whole infotainment system is the screen is very small. Of course, if this is a big deal to you, you can get a larger 8-inch screen. But diving into the system, it is decently responsive. Earlier, we were having some issues with it not being very snappy. That could just be the heat. But other than that, it is a responsive system. Overall, it is a very intuitive system. It is not hard to use. It doesn't try to do too much, and it does just enough to be useful. One little nitpicky complaint we did have is that it is on a plastic screen. You usually would like to see a glass screen for a more luxury look as well as a better feel. But other than that, this is a solid system. One cool thing in this vehicle we forgot to mention is this little screen above your larger infotainment system. Now this screen does contain some very useful information that you wouldn't want to avert your eyes from the road to see. Right now we have our time, our date, as well as the day of the week. Very cool feature, and temperature up there, as well as some of the climate stuff.
Yeah, and you know, that's the screen we had our X mode information up on earlier. And if I turn on our radar cruise control, it's going to give you a little graphic ahead of us. It's going to show you what's going on with the adaptive cruise control and what the car is seeing. That's always a really great feature to know what the car is thinking.
Now you join me in the back of the Forester, and I have to say this is a very comfortable area. You have a lot of amenities that you would expect to find in a seating area like this. You have vents as well as outlets, which are covered by this very weird cover. I'm not quite sure how I feel about this. I could see it being a bit of an annoyance, but it's not that big of a deal. You also have multiple compartments on the back of the seats. You have the file holder, as well as this little sanctioned one down here, which has a stitch in the middle, so you could separate maybe smaller papers and pens. If you fold this down, you have these two nice cup holders, which are a bit shallow, so you could not put any significantly heighted drinks in here, but they do have the little teeth to hold stuff, which is very nice. And of course, in this seating area, you have a great view out this sunroof. Overall, this is a very comfortable area that I could definitely see myself riding in for a long road trip. So
Colin, you told me this is one of your favorite cars. Why is that?
Well, for starters, it has a very good rugged look to it, which I've always loved in my vehicles. You compare that with the off-road capability, as well as a lot of storage space. This is a very good vehicle for what I'm looking for in a vehicle. Of course, it does not have all the flashy technology and great screen of other vehicles like your Hondas and Toyotas, but to me that doesn't really matter. What do you think of it, Jake?
I really liked it. We mentioned in the beginning, I thought it was promising in the way it mixed its capability and practicality, and it certainly met there. I think I would feel confident with that X mode taking this off-road on a camping trip or something, but I'd also feel confident picking up 4 friends and going to the beach or something like that. So this was a really great vehicle. We give it the thumbs up. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you all in next week's video. Take care, everyone.